Welcome back. Now to stop making a complete booty face of myself.
Yeah, you should stop doing that. Anyway,
I'm gonna let you.
You also don't watch Kids Next Door because of that, the booger stuff.
I just don't understand why it's so common.
I don't really get it either as much. I just know that it's very common in kids shows. The booger things, if I can talk. I don't know why it's a lot more common though, but I know it is. What are you looking at?
Overalls.
Why?
Because maybe I want some overalls, a pair that fit me for once. I've been looking at some.
Do you not have overalls that fit you?
Those are not overalls. Those are overalls that were made for people with they're skinny overalls.
So they're not like you want work overalls.
Yeah, I want comfortable overalls that I can fit. I want to look like
You want to look
I want
like
fisherman core.
You work on the farm or something?
I want to look like I'm a fisherman. With fisherman overalls and a nice knitted sweater, you know?
I don't know any fishermen who would have nice knitted sweaters.
Hello? You see it all the time.
Nope.
Fisherman outfit. They wear sweaters. They were really, really thick sweaters.
Oh, I know this. I meant like overall thing. Ugh.
We're not fishermen. What would it be? Fishing. What are they called? Who are they? They go out to the sea. See, they wearing sweaters right there. See? I think those are sweaters.
They're called fishermen.
No, because we're getting Midwest fishermen. I'm talking about crab fishing fishermen.
So crab fishers.
Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Oh my goodness, that was a stinker right there.
That's good
The
to know.
stinker. Yeah, see, we're
Wait,
sweaters.
So you... Oh, yeah.
Didn't believe me, did you?
Why did Midwestern fishermen come up with you?
I don't know.
Maybe because we're in the Midwest.
I think it had to do with location too.
2 more missions to go, baby.
I bet you back then, before...
those are really nice, actually.
Right? I bet before industrialization was super strong, I bet somebody's granny made those sweaters by hand.
Probably.
And they were the best goddamn sweaters. And they were so warm. And I'm so jealous.
That you can't have them.
I'm jealous of that 17 or 1800 fisherman with a knitted sweater from his Grammy or his wife. Because I know...
You think it was his wife?
Yeah, knitting and embroidery and learning textiles was an important part for, at least I believe, American women running a household.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I guess there's things I didn't know.
So...
I want to try this different swords.
Sewing... Well, around most cultures, textiles played a very significant role. I don't believe it was gendered for all cultures, though. I don't know enough about history, but I don't believe it was. But I know at least for Western women coming to the Americas, North America specifically, learning about textiles and learning how to sew, darning, and mending holes was very important because clothes were expensive. You can't just go out and buy a pair of socks. You get your pair of socks, you gotta know how to mend it. You get a tear somewhere in your clothes, you gotta know how to fix it and make it look pretty. And now, we have multiple different fibers, not just cotton, wool, and your natural fibers. And in linens, you also have polyester, nylon, rayon,
So
spandex.
it's really important to know that stuff pretty much.
Yeah, because you only had the natural fibers. Now we have more, not disposable, but synthetic fibers that are blended in. That are that make clothes more affordable because obviously hand picking and processing natural fibers was very laborious. But now with the creation of synthetic fibers and then the whole industrial thing and machines creating these clothes that aren't no longer need to be handmade or woven, it's changed the game a lot. However, knitting and handicrafts are still very important and cannot compare to machine-made ones. Knitted and crocheted clothing, doilies, sweaters, socks, all of that cannot compare. The handmade ones cannot compare to the in quality. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Machine-made
So
handy
you
stuff cannot compare to the quality of handmade.
Mixed yourself around there, didn't you?
Yeah, I was about to say handmade can't compare to the quality of machine. I was like, hold on, that's wrong.
Well, because a lot of handmade stuff is made to last a lot longer.
Oh, yes. And the other thing is also, people have downed the significance and the work that goes into handicraft things like knitting and crocheting, assuming it's a cheap hobby. It's not a cheap hobby. It's very labor intensive.
Isn't it super expensive too?
Well, yeah. And that's just for pre-made yarn and wools that you use. If you were to actually look at the process of shearing the sheep, cleaning the wool, processing the wool, spinning the wool, dyeing the wool, which is a whole nother thing, and getting the color to stay, and then knitting the wool itself or the cotton or whatever fiber you use, a sweater like the one I have that's factory made, it costs probably $5 at Walmart. But if I were to make this by hand with natural fibers from beginning to end, from the wool, from the sheep to the dye to creating it, it would not have cost that much. It would have cost far more, especially with all the hours and labor involved into it. Machines have definitely allowed that, but I think a downside of machines taking up things like knitting and crocheting is that people have devalued the work that it is to make these things.
Because they think it doesn't take as long as it
No,
does.
they think it's cheaper, and it's like, no, this is stitched by stitch.
Well, I think that's by everything, because you look at people who sell stuff on like well, I get TikToks about people who like make stuff and sell them, and they're like, why is it so expensive? And why can't you do it for cheaper and stuff like that?
I think a lot of it also I think it comes down to the fact that everything, especially art and handicrafts, has been commodified and been sellable and made like easily cheap, like anybody can get it, that in a way it's devalued the value and work that goes into it.
I guess I never looked at it that way before.
Because I've seen multiple videos how carpets are made, how clothes are made, how rope, super intense. Like I saw a video how some rope used to be made with fibers and stuff, stretched and packed and twisted and all that. Textiles are no joke, and people who don't see the value in clothing truly don't understand. I don't think
They understand
like the work it takes, especially if you're buying something handmade that somebody made and you're complaining about the price. If you don't want it handmade, then you know where your nearest department store is, but don't be upset that it's a lot more expensive than you thought it was, because somebody put their time, their effort and work into that. In time, I think, is one of the most valuable things about it, because you can't get that back. You can get your money back.
No. Yeah, that is true. Time is...
You can sell the items, but time is definitely not something you can get back, and that's I find where a lot of value goes into it. And then all the different stitches involved too, for especially crochet and knitting, like the different stitches to get these intricate designs, and for embroidery. It's just amazing to me how we've come so far for textiles, yet there's still people that think, why is it so expensive? And well, because this and this and this. Well, why isn't it cheap like so and so? It's like, well, this carpet was made in a factory, and it was made by a machine that punched it through a cheap thing. Whereas on the other hand, this Persian carpet was all made by hand, and it took months and months.
Yes. We should probably end it here.
Respect your clothing. That's my lesson.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Respect your clothes. Respect your grandma's knitting.